Chapter 2457. Lan Qingyan, who was originally ridiculing the crowd, couldn't help but be stunned after seeing this scene. She immediately said, "This is impossible." It was impossible for a beast king to submit to a cultivator. This was common knowledge. In the long history of Shengxian continent, there had never been a record of a beast king being contracted. How could Bailey Hongzhuang do it? Even if it's to raise Bailey Hongzhuang's status, you wouldn't go so far as to spread such a groundless rumor, right? Lan Qingyan couldn't help but mutter, but her voice wasn't soft. Her mood was very complicated. On one hand, she wanted to confirm that this was impossible. On the other hand, she didn't dare to directly clash with Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. After all, the previous scene had already made her lose face. She didn't dare to repeat it again. However, seeing everyone putting such a big hat on Bailey Hongzhuang's head and letting Bailey Hongzhuang steal the limelight, she felt a little dissatisfied. This sentence undoubtedly asked the doubts in everyone's heart. They had only heard of a beast king, but had never seen its true appearance. Therefore, even if they felt that White Lion and a beast king were somewhat similar, it was difficult to be certain. Shangguan Yingying frowned and looked at Lan Qingyan with dissatisfaction. "Lan Qingyan, do you think everyone is like you who has nothing better to do? Is there a need to lie to you about this kind of thing? Even if White Lion isn't a beast king, its strength is still much stronger than your contracted beast. Who would make such a meaningless joke?" As Bailey Hongzhuang's friend, she was also very happy to see Bailey Hongzhuang have this kind of opportunity to steal the limelight. At their position, stealing the limelight was a way to increase their influence. They didn't expect Lan Qingyan to be like a ghost that wouldn't go away. She would run out to question everything. Following Shangguan Yingying's words, everyone's expression couldn't help but change a little. These words were extremely persuasive. With Bailey Hongzhuang's situation, there was indeed no need for her to use her status as a contracted beast. Since even Bewitching said so, then this matter was most likely true. What kind of existence is a beast king? Such a thing has never happened in the Shengxian continent. Lan Qingyan couldn't help but say. Shangguan Yingying looked at Lan Qingyan mockingly. "Aren't all the impossibilities in this world created by cultivators? Doesn't that mean that it will be impossible in the future?" Once these words came out, Lan Qingyan couldn't help but choke. She didn't know what to say. White Lion raised its head proudly and looked at the crowd proudly. It was a true beast king. In the past, it had been hiding its identity because its master had always kept a low profile. But now, there was no need for it to hide. It was the beast king. When the cultivators from Limitless Palace found out about White Lion's true identity, they were completely dumbfounded. They had always felt that White Lion's identity was extraordinary. They never imagined that White Lion's identity would be so extraordinary. Bewitching and the others did not intend to explain further. No matter what Baisher's true identity was, or whether others believed it or not, it did not affect them at all. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, she had been in a state of epiphany and was completely unaware of what was happening in the outside world. 3 days later, Xiao He and Xiao Bai finally came out of their state of epiphany. When Shangguan Yingying and the others saw that Xiao He and Xiao Bai had regained consciousness, they immediately wanted to ask what had happened. Chapter 2458. When they saw this scene, Shangguan Yingying and Wen Ziren felt helpless as well. Bailey Hongzhuang's contracted beasts were about to break through. Xiao He and Xiao Bai didn't dare disturb Bailey Hongzhuang when they realized that they were about to break through. Instead, they quietly jumped off Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder and went to the other side to break through. After such an epiphany, they were very clear about how great the benefits of this epiphany were. They were still quite a distance away from breaking through, but they didn't think that they would be able to break through now. They believed that their master's gains would be even greater than theirs. When the other two blue realm auras burst out, everyone was speechless when they saw that the ones about to break through were Bailey Hongzhuang's other two contracted beasts. That contracted beast from before was a beast king, so it's understandable that its strength is heaven-defying. Then what species are these two Yao beasts? Why are they so strong? A cultivator couldn't help but be speechless. Wasn't this a little too shocking? Wang Yujing didn't want to say anything else. It was no wonder that his contracted beasts had admitted defeat before the battle even began. It was a good thing that the two furballs hadn't joined in at the time. Otherwise, his contracted beasts wouldn't have survived. Thinking of this, Wang Yujing couldn't help but thank Bailey Hongzhuang for showing mercy. After all, he had spent a lot of resources and effort to nurture his Yao beasts to their current level of strength. These two Yao beasts are even weirder than the Beast King. I've never seen powerful Yao beasts that look like that. I've never seen Yao beasts like that either. Putting aside the fact that Bailey Hongzhuang's Yao beasts are powerful, I really can't understand their origins. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang had undoubtedly become an expert in contracting Yao beasts in everyone's eyes. They had no idea how Bailey Hongzhuang had managed to nurture such contracted beasts. The amount of resources and energy needed to cultivate a contract beast of this level was already terrifying. Bailey Hongzhuang had cultivated 3 of them. How did she do it? Shengguan Yingying and Xiren couldn't help but look at Bewitching. Bewitching, what species are Xiao He and Xiao Bai? Now, they only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang really couldn't be judged by her appearance. Many things that they usually overlooked now seemed to be not to be underestimated. Bewitching glanced at Xiao He and Xiao Bai, but what he said made Xiren and Shengguan Yingying feel helpless. I don't know. Not to mention that he didn't know, even Bailey Hongzhuang herself didn't know. These two furballs that came out of the Chaos Ring were completely different from ordinary Yao beasts. Even if they flipped through all the books, they couldn't find any records of them. Back then he and Bailey Hongzhuang had spent a lot of effort on this matter, but in the end, they could only helplessly give up. Seeing that Bewitching was serious and didn't seem to be joking, Shengguan Yingying and Xiren could only helplessly sigh at Bailey Hongzhuang's luck. If ordinary cultivators saw Xiao He and Xiao Bai, they probably wouldn't be interested in them at all. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had managed to cultivate them to such an extent. It was really amazing. Lan Qingyan didn't say anything after seeing this scene. Previously, she didn't think much of Xiao He and Xiao Bai, but now, it seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang's 3 contracted beasts weren't simple goods. Chapter 2459. Time passed slowly. Xiao He and Xiao Bai successfully broke through and stood guard beside Bailey Hongzhuang with Baishir. 10 days had passed, and Bailey Hongzhuang didn't show any signs of coming out of that state. Everyone couldn't help but worry. Luckily, Bailey Hongzhuang's breathing was stable and didn't show any signs of uneasiness, so everyone could only stand guard by the side. Only, no one noticed that Bailey Hongzhuang's primal chaos ring was flickering with specks of light, intertwining with the primal chaos tablet, and Bailey Hongzhuang became the link between the two. In this period of time, there were many cultivators breaking through, and there were many cultivators trying to advance, but in the end, it was all to no avail. Because comprehending the primal chaos tablet was too abstract, every time everyone thought they had comprehended quite a bit, they would realize that it was just their own thoughts when they took a step forward. Originally, everyone thought that comprehending the primal chaos tablet wasn't a difficult thing, but after trying it out, everyone completely understood. To comprehend the primal chaos tablet, it was definitely not easy. Bailey Hongzhuang only knew that she had entered an extremely strange state. Her body and mind were greatly improved. The increase in cultivation might not be huge, but she could feel countless amounts of star energy flowing through her body, transforming her body. This kind of transformation was more effective than any kind of medicinal pill. It was as if even his aptitude had been improved. Not only that, she could feel the star energy flowing into the primal chaos ring in her hand. When she first saw the primal chaos tablet, she had a familiar feeling in her heart, and now that she thought about the primal chaos ring, she finally understood everything. Primal chaos tablet, primal chaos ring, both were named after primal chaos. There must be a certain connection between them. Ever since she got the primal chaos ring, she had never seen anything related to the primal chaos ring, and now that she finally saw it, it was a powerful existence like the primal chaos tablet. No wonder the primal chaos ring was a god tool. Just from this connection, one could see how extraordinary it was. She didn't know where she was going in this sea of stars, and could only walk forward aimlessly. She didn't know how far she had walked. This vast universe was endless, as if she would never reach the end. Unknowingly, half a month had passed, and the cultivators in the hall still didn't have any progress. The cultivators who had originally harbored hopes of obtaining an identity token had lost all hope at this moment. There was only half a month left until the end of the Battle of Zhuolu. Even if they used up all of this time, they might not be able to achieve a breakthrough. However, at this moment, Bewitching and Mo almost at the same time. After sensing each other's actions, they couldn't help but look at each other, and then a smile on their lips. It seemed that there were many similarities between the two of them. As Bewitching and Mo Yunjue stood up, everyone who was cultivating or comprehending couldn't help but look at the two of them. Ever since they started comprehending, Bewitching and Mo Yunjue had never moved. Could it be that the two of them wanted to try and advance? Chapter 2460. Contrary to what everyone thought, Bewitching and Mo Yunjue both took a step forward very smoothly. At the same time, 3 identity cards appeared in front of Bewitching and Mo Yunjue out of thin air. Obviously, taking a step forward would give them 3 identity cards. Bewitching and Shangguan Ying took the identity cards in front of them and put them into their Qiankuan bags. Then, they sat down again and began the second round of comprehension. When everyone saw that Bewitching and Shangguan Ying had succeeded, they couldn't help but open their mouths wide. They didn't expect the two of them to succeed so easily. It seems that Bewitching and Mo Yunjue are equally matched in terms of strength and talent. They actually managed to comprehend at the same time. Sure enough, there is still a big gap between geniuses. No matter how we try, we fail. They succeed as soon as they try. No wonder we can't compare to them in terms of cultivation. Comprehension ability was extremely important on the path of cultivation. Cultivators with high comprehension would often get twice the result with half the effort when cultivating. On the other hand, cultivators with low comprehension would need to put in more effort to reach the same level. It was precisely because of this that cultivators with high comprehension had always been envied by others. When Xiren and Shangguan Ying couldn't help but look at each other. It seemed that these two guys were really destined to be rivals. Whether it was identity, background, strength, or appearance, these two were extremely outstanding existences. Usually, it was impossible to determine the winner or loser. If there was really a winner or loser, it could only be said that Bewitching had won Bailey Hongzhuang's heart. However, the winner or loser couldn't be determined in such a way. In the past, Mo Yunjue had never appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Therefore, everyone didn't know much about Mo Yunjue. After this battle of Zhuolu, everyone thoroughly knew how powerful the young master of the heaven-devouring tower was. Just as the commotion calmed down, another figure suddenly stood up. Everyone turned their gaze to the white figure. However, when they saw the person clearly, everyone's expression became somewhat complicated. This person was none other than Lan Qingyan. Lan Qingyan arrogantly glanced at the crowd. She was too lazy to bother with these guys. Even though her performance in the Battle of Zhuolu this time was extremely poor, in terms of comprehension, she was not inferior to others at all. The most important thing was, she felt that this tablet seemed to have some sort of connection with her, which was why her comprehension speed was faster than others. Lan Qingyan shouldn't be here to play to the gallery again, right? After everything that had happened, the image of an expert that Lan Qingyan had established in everyone's hearts had completely disappeared. Instead, it was that claptrap that left a deep impression on everyone. Perhaps Lan Qingyan was doing this on purpose to attract everyone's attention. Ouyang Etian couldn't help but look at Lan Qingyan with a complicated expression. He had known Lan Qingyan since young and naturally knew that Lan Qingyan's perception wasn't bad. However, comprehending the primal chaos tablet was indeed not a simple matter. Whether Lan Qingyan could really do it, he wasn't certain. The next second, Lan Qingyan attempted to take a step forward. However, contrary to everyone's expectations, Lan Qingyan actually succeeded. When Lan Qingyan saw the 3 identity tablets in front of her, a thick smile appeared on her face. At this moment, she finally turned the tables. Chapter 2461. Lan Qingyan proudly glanced at the crowd and then haughtily retracted her gaze. She wanted to let everyone know that even if she, Lan Qingyan, failed miserably this time, her talent and potential were not to be underestimated. Among the cultivators present, many of them had been defeated by her. Lan Qingyan is the young lord of the Lan clan and the inheritor of the Rainbow Pearl. Her ability is not to be underestimated. Bailey Hongzhuang hasn't made any moves until now. Looks like in this aspect, Bailey Hongzhuang is not Lan Qingyan's opponent. Lan Qingyan has been famous for a long time. Moreover, I heard that every time, the Lan clan's Rainbow Pearl possessor is a genius. This is the reason why the Lan clan has always been standing strong. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. The wind had changed a lot. Previously, Lan Qingyan was bullied so badly that no one felt anything. Now that they thought about it carefully, Lan Qingyan was ultimately not an easy person to deal with. After Lan Qingyan turned the tables, the Lan clan's cultivators who were originally covered in dirt all revealed smiles. This was the glory that belonged to their Lan clan. Look at how proud Lan Qingyan is. If Hongzhuang wasn't in this state, she would definitely be stronger than Lan Qingyan. Shengguan Yinging looked at Lan Qingyan unhappily. Normally, she couldn't stand Lan Qingyan's arrogant and proud look. That was why she was in conflict with her. Every cultivator who participated in the battle for deer chasing was a powerful cultivator. Only Lan Qingyan was unbelievably arrogant. When Xiren patted Shengguan Yinging's shoulder. Why are you angry with her? Based on her situation, no matter how good her performance is now, she won't have good results in the battle for deer chasing. Moreover, Hongzhuang hasn't even started to perform. Hearing this, Shengguan Yinging nodded her head in satisfaction. She felt that Bailey Hongzhuang must be fated with the Primal Chaos Tablet for her to be able to enter this state. Otherwise, why couldn't others enter this state? Lan Qingyan proudly turned around to look at Bailey Hongzhuang and was prepared to mock her. However, she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze was fixed on the Primal Chaos Tablet as if she didn't even notice her existence. Lan Qingyan couldn't help but frown. She had been sitting at the back and didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang had already entered this strange state. Stop pretending. I'll see when you can comprehend it. Lan Qingyan coldly snorted and then turned around to continue comprehending the Primal Chaos Tablet. She wanted to regain all the dignity that she lost. After Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue saw that Lan Qingyan was also enlightened, they sighed in their hearts. Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan could be said to be destined enemies, but in their eyes, no matter how good Lan Qingyan was, she could not be compared to Bailey Hongzhuang. When the three beasts saw this scene, they couldn't help but feel anxious. They didn't want their master's limelight to be stolen by Lan Qingyan. This was something that they had painstakingly snatched back. How could they let it be snatched away? It was a pity that their master had entered this state and they didn't know when she would regain her senses. Bailey Hongzhuang walked forward aimlessly. She found that as the power of the stars continued to pour in, the power from the primordial chaos ring was getting stronger and stronger. She could have broken through long ago, but this power had been accumulating. Chapter 2462. Right now, Bailey Hongzhuang was like a traveler in the desert who had finally found her way. No matter what was in front of her, she had to go and investigate. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately quickened her footsteps and kept getting closer to the front. She wanted to know what was in the Primal Chaos Tablet that attracted her. This was a very long journey. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang had already used her fastest speed, she still walked for a very long time. Finally, Bailey Hongzhuang saw a ball of dazzling light in front of her. The moment she saw this light, Bailey Hongzhuang understood. In front of her was a dazzling rainbow light. It was like a rainbow god pearl. It was dazzling and exceptionally dazzling. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly understood why she would see such a star. It was because these stars were also dazzling with rainbow light. Could it be that the rainbow god pearl and the Primal Chaos Tablet were related? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with deep astonishment. All along, she only knew that the Rainbow God Pearl could help cultivators increase their cultivation speed and increase their strength. As the Lan family's heirloom, Bailey Hongzhuang had always felt that the Rainbow God Pearl was extremely mystical. Only she had never thought much about the reason. She only thought that the Lan family was blessed by the heavens, which was why they had such an heirloom. If I can enter this world, Then can Lan Qingyan also enter this world? Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but think. Lan Qingyan had snatched away her Rainbow God Pearl. Now that she was the owner of the Rainbow God Pearl, she should be able to come here too. Looks like there was really an ill-fated relationship between them. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the huge ball of light in front of her. It was like a Rainbow God Pearl that had been magnified countless times. Her heart was filled with emotions. Suddenly, a surge of energy shot from the huge ball of light onto her body. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately discovered that this was an extremely familiar power. It was exactly the same as the power of the Rainbow God Pearl, but it was much stronger than the power of the Rainbow God Pearl that she possessed. The mysterious power intertwined with the Rainbow Divine Pearl in Bailey Hongzhuang's body, and the rainbow light spun around her like ribbons, making it hard for people to see clearly. Under this huge force, Bailey Hongzhuang could not resist at all. She could only accept it passively. Seven-colored energy flowed through her body and finally gathered on her seven-colored divine pearl. Gradually, she discovered that the power of the Rainbow Divine Pearl in her body was constantly increasing and sublimating. It was as if it had met its main body and was rapidly growing. This discovery made Bailey Hongzhuang exclaim endlessly. Could this be the secret of the Lan family's inheritance? Was all of this related to the Primal Chaos Tablet? Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know how Lan family's #1 person obtained the Rainbow God Pearl, but she was incomparably certain that person definitely had a huge connection with the Primal Chaos Tablet. Maybe, this Primal Chaos Tablet was placed here by the Lan family. Bailey Hongzhuang closed her eyes and calmly absorbed this energy. She knew that this energy was extremely beneficial to her. It could even shorten the time she needed to go to the Lan family. However, just as Bailey Hongzhuang was calmly cultivating, the cultivators in the hall felt a vigorous energy explode from Bailey Hongzhuang's body. Chapter 2463. Ever since Bailey Hongzhuang arrived at the hall, there had been no movement. Almost everyone present had achieved a breakthrough in their cultivation except for Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation was only at level 4 of the Blue Realm, everyone's expression became a little more interesting. Previously, when Lan Qingyan broke through, everyone knew that she had broken through from level 7 of the Blue Realm to level 8 of the Blue Realm. Almost everyone thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was on par with Lan Qingyan's, or even slightly stronger than Lan Qingyan's. However, this aura could not be faked. Bailey Hongzhuang was actually so much weaker than Lan Qingyan. Since there was such a huge difference in their strength, how did Bailey Hongzhuang defeat Lan Qingyan? For a moment, everyone could not figure it out. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation is only at level 4 of the Blue Realm, but why was there such a huge commotion when she broke through? I don't know. The fluctuation was a little shocking, but her cultivation is indeed at level 4 of the Blue Realm. I really can't figure it out. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang's combat strength is much stronger than her cultivation? No matter how much stronger she is, she can't possibly defeat a cultivator who is 3 or 4 levels stronger than her, right? Everyone shook their heads. Although it was possible to fight with someone who was at a higher level, it was impossible to do so if the level was too high. However, there were many cultivators present who had fought with Bailey Hongzhuang before, so they did not find it strange at all. Bailey Hongzhuang has the blood aura. It's normal for her to fight with someone who is at a higher level, a young master from an aristocratic family said slowly. When he had fought with Bailey Hongzhuang, he had seen Bailey Hongzhuang use the blood aura. He had also found it unbelievable. However, after knowing that Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching were a couple, he felt that this matter was much easier to accept. As soon as this was said, the cultivators who were unaware of the situation could not help but widen their eyes. This news was too shocking. The elemental energy in the surrounding air surged madly towards Bailey Hongzhuang's body. The dense elemental energy was so dense that it seemed to have solidified as it continuously poured into her body. When Lan Qingyan saw Bailey Hongzhuang's breakthrough, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. This situation was really shocking. Even when she broke through to the 8th level of the Blue Realm, there wasn't such a terrifying movement. Why was Bailey Hongzhuang's breakthrough so strange? The weirdest thing was, ever since she took a step forward, every time she turned back to look at Bailey Hongzhuang would look at the tablet with a burning gaze, as though she had never shifted her gaze. Although she didn't know what had happened, she had a bad feeling in her heart. Boom! Bailey Hongzhuang's breakthrough speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, she had broken through to Blue Realm Level 5. After that, Bailey Hongzhuang continued to stare at the tablet as though nothing had happened. Even Bewitching and the others couldn't help but feel puzzled after seeing this situation. They didn't know what kind of strange state Bailey Hongzhuang had entered, so they couldn't determine what was going on. 3 days later, Bailey Hongzhuang broke through again. Her cultivation level had broken through from Blue Realm Level 5 to Blue Realm Level 6. After witnessing Bailey Hongzhuang's breakthrough speed, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to increase her cultivation level by 2 levels. She had surpassed everyone's cultivation speed. In the blink of an eye, there were only 10 days left until the end of the Battle of Zhuolu. Chapter 2464. With these 6 identity tablets plus the 3 identity tablets they obtained the first time, Bewitching and Mo Yunjue obtained a total of 9 identity tablets. Looking at the two's gains, everyone was envious. This time, the strongest person in the battle of vying for the throne would definitely be Bewitching and Mo Yunjue. Not only that, when Xiren and the other talented cultivators also successfully crossed the first step. From this situation, everyone could determine the difference between the inheritors and normal cultivators. This was because those who successfully comprehended were mostly inheritors. However, there were also some talented cultivators who successfully comprehended. On the second day after Bewitching and Mo Yunjue successfully comprehended the second picture, Lan Qingyan also successfully took a step forward. Lan Qingyan felt that comprehending the Primal Chaos Tablet was much easier than comprehending other things. Originally, she thought that her comprehension speed was already fast enough. She didn't expect Bewitching and Mo Yunjue's comprehension to be so high. Although her heart was unwilling to admit it, Lan Qingyan also understood that Bewitching and Mo Yunjue's status was so high. It was really inseparable from the two people's cultivation talent. Luckily, the other cultivator's speed couldn't be compared to hers. This made her feel better. After all, she was the only girl who comprehended to such a degree. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, she couldn't be bothered to find out what kind of state Bailey Hongzhuang was in. At least, she hadn't comprehended anything yet. There were only 7 days left. Once the time was up, Bailey Hongzhuang would have no chance. Originally, she didn't have a single identity tablet. But now, she obtained 9. Although her results weren't outstanding, at least she wouldn't be at the bottom anymore. The 3 beasties and Bewitching couldn't help but worry when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang immersed in such a state. Logically speaking, with Bailey Hongzhuang's perception, comprehending the Primal Chaos Tablet shouldn't be a problem. Bailey Hongzhuang had already obtained quite a number of identity cards. Coupled with the identity cards she had obtained here, her ranking was definitely quite high. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang was always in this state, she would miss this opportunity. No matter what, Hongzhuang being able to raise her cultivation by 2 levels here is not bad. Bailey Hongzhuang's gentle voice was filled with a little sigh and helplessness. Although the result was a little unsatisfactory, compared to the others, Bailey Hongzhuang still gained a lot. I'm just curious about what kind of state Hongzhuang has been in all this time. It seems to be different from the state Xiao He and Xiao Bai were in previously. According to Xiao He and Xiao Bai's description, they had entered a state of enlightenment. It was like being enlightened. Their cultivation had opened up a whole new world. That was why they had broken through so smoothly. If Bailey Hongzhuang was also in enlightenment, this enlightenment time was a little too long. Also, logically speaking, enlightenment should be withdrawn when a cultivator breaks through. Bailey Hongzhuang had already broken through twice, but she didn't seem to have any intention of withdrawing from this state. So it shouldn't be enlightenment. I feel an aura similar to the Primal Chaos Tablet from Hongzhuang's body. Bewitching's deep eyes flashed with a light of thought. His voice was heavy and hard to fathom. Chapter 2465. Hearing Bewitching's words, Shangguan Yingying and Xiren's eyes were filled with astonishment. Similar aura to the Primal Chaos tablet? That's not possible, right? When Xiren's face was filled with disbelief. What kind of existence was the Primal Chaos tablet? Even if Bailey Hongzhuang had entered a strange state, she shouldn't have the same aura as the Primal Chaos tablet, right? However, after hearing Di Beichen's words, Mo Yunjue nodded with a serious expression. I have the same feeling too. Once he said that, everyone couldn't help but look at each other. Since Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue had the same feeling, then it couldn't be wrong. Lan Qingyan originally wanted to eavesdrop on what Di Beichen and the rest were saying. However, Di Beichen and the rest were obviously guarding against her, so she couldn't hear a thing at all. Unknowingly, it was already the end of the Battle of Zhuolu. Tomorrow was the time for everyone to leave. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue finally succeeded in reaching the third step on the last day, and once again obtained 9 identity tablets. The two of them seemed to have telepathy. Every time they comprehended, it was at the same time, causing everyone to be speechless. However, they also knew that it was impossible to determine a winner between the two of them. Lan Qingyan's progress was already unable to keep up with Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue. She only hated that she didn't have enough time. If only she had a few more days, she would have 9 more identity tablets and completely overturned her original disadvantage. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time. At this time, Lan Qingyan still glared fiercely at Ouyang Yian, who was in the second row. She would never forget how Ouyang Etian had abandoned her. When she returned to the Lan family, she would settle the score one by one. After Ouyang Etian felt Lan Qingyan's glare, he didn't have any thoughts of responding. He really wasn't worried that the Lan family could do anything to their Ouyang family. Beichen, Hongzhuang still hasn't recovered from that state. The Battle of Zhuolu is going to end tomorrow. What should we do? Shangguan Yinging looked at Bailey Hongzhuang worriedly. They never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be with her until now. Now, most of the cultivators had already taken a step forward, but Bailey Hongzhuang still remained in the periphery. Speaking of which, this was truly a terrible situation. Di Beichen furrowed his brows and pursed his thin lips. There's nothing we can do when the Battle of Zhuolu ends. Everyone will appear in the center of the Battle of Zhuolu and Hongzhuang's state will be forcefully interrupted. This was the setting of the Battle of Zhuolu for many years. No matter what the cultivator was doing, as long as it was time to end, everything would stop. When Xiren sighed, I hope Hongzhuang can wake up today. Otherwise, who knows what kind of effect it will have on Hongzhuang if it's forcefully interrupted. Gu Zhiqin was also worried, but this kind of thing was completely beyond their scope of understanding. That night, many cultivators couldn't help but feel impatient. In their minds, they were constantly thinking about their ranking based on the number of identity cards they had obtained. Tomorrow was the end of the Battle of Zhuolu. Even if they worked hard to cultivate tonight, they wouldn't be able to make much progress. Xiao Bai, Baisher, do you think Master really won't wake up today? Xiao He frowned. It was really unwilling to give up such a great opportunity. Chapter 2466. It was already late at night, but the main hall was still bright. Just as everyone was either cultivating or bored to death, suddenly, a shocking aura exploded from Bailey Hongzhuang's body. Feeling this shocking aura, everyone's gaze couldn't help but be attracted to Bailey Hongzhuang. In this 1.5 months, Bailey Hongzhuang has already broken through 2 levels. Is she going to continue breaking through? I really don't understand what Bailey Hongzhuang is doing. She hasn't made any progress in comprehending the tablet, but her cultivation speed is extremely shocking. I really don't understand. I feel that comprehending the tablet will increase our realm, but it doesn't completely help our cultivation. Why is Bailey Hongzhuang's performance so different from ours? No matter what, I'm really envious. The cultivators were all discussing. At their current cultivation level, it wasn't easy to increase their strength by 1 level. However, in a short 1.5 months, Bailey Hongzhuang's strength increased by 3 levels. How could they not be envious? Lan Qingyan's expression became complicated when she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was about to break through again. She was only at Blue Realm level 8, but Bailey Hongzhuang was about to break through to Blue Realm level 7. Previously, there was a difference of 4 levels between them. Now, it was rapidly shrinking. In addition, Bailey Hongzhuang had the blood aura field. She was afraid that she would have to be more careful if she fought with Bailey Hongzhuang head-on. For the first time, Lan Qingyan felt a strong sense of threat in her heart. Bailey Hongzhuang had now become an existence that could threaten her. This wasn't a good thing. Di Beichen and the rest smiled when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was about to break through again. This was extremely good news. When dawn was about to arrive, Bailey Hongzhuang finally broke through to Blue Realm Level 7. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly opened her eyes. There was still a rainbow light flowing in her eyes, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. Hongzhuang, you're awake. Shengguan Yingying immediately noticed Bailey Hongzhuang's movements. She had been counting the time, hoping that Bailey Hongzhuang would wake up soon. Yingying. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and couldn't help but stretch. She had been in the same position for such a long time that her body was a bit stiff. Hongzhuang, it's great that you're awake. The Battle of Zhuelu is going to end tomorrow. We were really worried that something might have happened to you. Shengguan Yingying breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang could wake up, everything would be fine. Wife, how are you feeling? Di Beichen turned to ask Bailey Hongzhuang. I'm fine. Sorry for making you worry. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a faint and calm smile. She didn't expect that she would wake up on the day when the Battle of Zhuelu was about to end. In fact, she didn't even know how long she had been in the vast starry sky. She was immersed in the changes in the Chaos Ring and the Rainbow Pearl. Now that she was out, she realized that time had passed quickly. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang's face was rosy and didn't look uncomfortable at all, Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue were relieved. Chapter 2467. If it was before, Lan Qingyan had no choice but to be afraid of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others due to her isolated and helpless situation. But now that the Battle of Zhuelu was about to end, the Lan clan would come to welcome her once the Battle of Zhuelu ended. By then, she wouldn't need to be afraid of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. Therefore, Lan Qingyan's current confidence was sufficient. Hearing Lan Qingyan's words, Shengguan Yingying and the others couldn't help glaring at Lan Qingyan. Lan Qingyan definitely touched the pot that didn't boil. During this period of time, they couldn't help but feel sorry for Bailey Hongzhuang. If she hadn't fallen into that strange state, Bailey Hongzhuang's current comprehension level would definitely not be worse than Lan Qingyan's. The three beasties looked at Lan Qingyan with disgust. This woman was really annoying no matter what time it was. Bailey Hongzhuang then shifted her gaze to Lan Qingyan. Her exquisite jade-like face revealed coldness and indifference. Lan Qingyan, I didn't expect you to like paying attention to me so much. Once these words came out, Lan Qingyan's face couldn't help but stiffen. She then snorted coldly. Don't flatter yourself. I just saw that you were so arrogant before, but now you only have this result. I think it's funny. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly and asked in return, Who told you that I only have this result? Lan Qingyan was left speechless by this question. At this time, could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang could still make a comeback? Bailey Hongzhuang had just woken up and she was already in a conflict with Lan Qingyan. Everyone was happy to see this and wanted to know who would gain the upper hand this time. In my opinion, Lan Qingyan and Bailey Hongzhuang will continue to fight in the future. I'm afraid the enmity between these two people is a dead knot that can't be untied. Actually, I think this is pretty good. Usually, there isn't any girl who can challenge Lan Qingyan. But ever since Bailey Hongzhuang appeared, this is the first time I've seen Lan Qingyan make a fool of herself in public. Do you still remember Lan Qingyan's attitude when she saw Di Beichen? I'm afraid there's already a grudge between these two women, and the reason is Di Beichen. No matter when, the gossipy hearts in everyone's hearts could not be dispelled. In the midst of these discussions, the love triangle between Lan Qingyan, Bailey Hongzhuang, and Di Beichen had already been vividly imagined by everyone. TSK, Bailey Hongzhuang, don't force yourself. I know it's hard for you to accept this result, but you look really pitiful when you pretend to be fine. Lan Qingyan shook her head and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with pity. The ridicule in her eyes became more and more obvious. Hearing Lan Qingyan's arrogant and haughty words, many people present couldn't help but frown. These words were really unpleasant to hear. Lan Qingyan, don't tell me you want to die in this battle for the deer? Di Beichen's deep eyes were filled with a bone-chilling light. The threat and warning in his words couldn't be more profound. Hong Zhuang had just woken up and he hadn't properly cared about Hong Zhuang's situation. This Lan Qingyan had already started to ridicule him time and time again. Did she treat him as if he didn't exist? Following Di Beichen's words, the cultivators present couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Di Beichen's words were really domineering. Chapter 2468. Although Lan Qingyan's strength was not bad, in front of Di Beichen, Lan Qingyan was definitely not his opponent. Just as Di Beichen had said, as long as Di Beichen wanted to take Lan Qingyan's life in this battle of Zhuolu, Lan Qingyan would not be able to survive until the moment she left. After hearing Di Beichen's words, the originally arrogant Lan Qingyan's face couldn't help but turn ashen. She could only swallow the words that she was about to say. She could only glare angrily at Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that the other party had the advantage in numbers, she was no match for them. Hence, she could only swallow her anger. Sure enough, a slut who doesn't listen to a more straightforward warning thinks she's so great. Shengguan Yingying looked at Lan Qingyan's face that had turned black from holding back her anger. She could not help but smile. Recently, this Lan Qingyan was like a housefly, always buzzing around people's ears. It was so annoying. Di Beichen has become more and more powerful recently. Xiao Hei's eyes sparkled with worship. Di Beichen's words had extinguished all of Lan Qingyan's arrogance. If Master did not want to personally finish off Lan Qingyan, Di Beichen would have already taken Lan Qingyan's life, Baisher said lazily. Some deep grudges could only be resolved with one's own hands. The reason why Di Beichen had tolerated Lan Qingyan was because of this. Only when Hong Zhuang defeated Lan Qingyan in front of everyone in the Lan family and gave those Lan family members who were optimistic about Lan Jingquang's family a slap in the face, would it be time for Bailey Hongzhuang's family to regain their dignity. Seeing that Di Beichen was so protective of her, the smile on Bailey Hongzhuang's face became brighter. The Battle of Zhuolu is indeed about to end, but isn't it not over yet? As soon as she said this, everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang doubtfully. They didn't know what she meant by this sentence. Lan Qingyan's face was also filled with disbelief. She didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could overturn the heavens in this last hour. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang stood up and walked forward without hesitation. Instantly, everyone's eyes were focused on Bailey Hongzhuang. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang also comprehended the Primal Chaos Tablet? Bailey Hongzhuang successfully took the first step, and 3 identity cards appeared in front of her. Seeing this scene, an ominous premonition emerged in Lan Qingyan's heart. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang not only had a breakthrough in her cultivation during this period of time, she had also comprehended quite a bit of the Primal Chaos Tablet? If that was the case, then wouldn't her gains here not be comparable to Bailey Hongzhuang? Luckily, Bailey Hongzhuang had only taken the first step, and she was now on the second step. Bailey Hongzhuang should not be able to catch up to her. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's next action directly shattered Lan Qingyan's fantasy. Because after Bailey Hongzhuang kept the 3 identity cards, she did not hesitate to take the first step again. Similarly, it was extremely smooth without any obstruction. Bailey Hongzhuang's charming face was filled with a clear and moving smile, and once again kept the 6 identity cards into her bag. Seeing this, the faces of Di Beichen and the others were full of smiles. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance at the moment really gave them a big surprise. Chapter 2469. After taking 2 steps forward, Bailey Hongzhuang was already standing beside Lan Qingyan. Her lips couldn't help but curve into a sarcastic smile. Lan Qingyan, I've disappointed you. Lan Qingyan's face was ashen. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang who appeared in front of her, her eyes were filled with disbelief. She didn't want to believe this fact. The pride that she had been proud of for so long actually dissipated in just a moment after Bailey Hongzhuang woke up. In comparison, Bailey Hongzhuang's harvest was much better than hers. Originally, Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was weaker than Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, in a short period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang has already reversed all the disadvantages. Needless to say, Bailey Hongzhuang's ranking is definitely higher than Lan Qingyan's. Didn't you see Lan Qingyan's pale face? This Bailey Hongzhuang is really talented. She can't be underestimated. Previously, when Bailey Hongzhuang had not woken up, everyone couldn't help but change their opinion after seeing Lan Qingyan's results. However, in a short time after Bailey Hongzhuang woke up, everyone's impression of her changed again. Now, most of the cultivators felt that Bailey Hongzhuang's future development couldn't be underestimated. In addition to her relationship with the young sect master of Tiangang sect, the rise of Limitless Palace was absolutely expected. For a moment, many people were secretly thinking in their hearts. After this battle of Zhuolu ended, they had to pull their relationship closer with Limitless Palace. Limitless Palace's strength had always been good. However, because it had been established for a short period of time, its foundation was insufficient. Therefore, everyone didn't pay too much attention to it. Once Limitless Palace and Tiangang sect had a marriage alliance, the situation would completely change. In the past, there weren't many forces that had close contact with Limitless Palace. The earlier they contacted Limitless Palace, the better. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang, Ouyang Etienne's heart was filled with emotions. He really didn't know how the palace master of Limitless Palace found such a successor. It was really heaven-defying. With Bailey Hongzhuang's speed of improvement and her perception, it would not be difficult for her to surpass Lan Qingyan in the future. The only thing was that the foundation of Limitless Palace could not be compared to the Lan clan. This time, after Lan Qingyan returned to the Lan clan, she would definitely use the clan's resources to improve herself. He and Lan Qingyan had known each other for so many years, so he knew her character very well. Therefore, the next time Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan met, it was hard to say who would win and who would lose. Just when everyone thought that Bailey Hongzhuang had shown enough talent, Bailey Hongzhuang's next move stunned everyone once again. This was because Bailey Hongzhuang did not stop there. She continued to move forward. The third step. When Bailey Hongzhuang appeared beside Bewitching and the 9 identity cards in front of her, everyone was certain that Bailey Hongzhuang had really reached the 3rd level. "My wife, you're really amazing." Bewitching smiled and gave Bailey Hongzhuang a thumbs up. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's perception had always been very powerful. Now it seemed that the state that Bailey Hongzhuang had entered previously had great benefits for her. Not only did she not fall behind in her comprehension, but her cultivation also increased rapidly. It was really eye-catching. "That's natural." Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and winked at Bewitching. Her harvest from this trip was much greater than everyone's imagination. Chapter 2470. Originally, her rainbow god pearl was only flowing with rainbow light. Its effect wasn't small, but it wasn't that shocking. However, after obtaining that power in the vast starry sky, she finally knew what the real rainbow god pearl looked like. Now, if someone could see her dantian, they would discover that other than the rainbow light from before, her rainbow god pearl also had specks of light. It was like the vast universe, just like a small galaxy. Following the changes of the rainbow god pearl, Bailey Hongzhuang also understood the true use of the rainbow god pearl. It was no wonder that the Lan family had been able to stand strong for so many years. The successor was already much stronger than ordinary cultivators with the rainbow sacred pearl. If he had the awakened rainbow sacred pearl, he would be even more powerful. However, she was also curious why Lan Qingyan didn't enter that state when she also possessed the rainbow god pearl. Regarding this, Bailey Hongzhuang had 2 guesses in her mind. Firstly, Lan Qingyan's rainbow god pearl was stolen. She herself wasn't the possessor of the rainbow god pearl, so she didn't have the qualifications to enter that world. Secondly, even cultivators who possessed the rainbow god pearl might not be able to comprehend and enter that world. No matter which point it was, as long as Lan Qingyan didn't have such an opportunity, it was extremely good. She believed that even her master didn't know that the rainbow god pearl had such a miraculous effect. However, someone in the Lan family definitely knew. Perhaps the Lan family was hoping that Lan Qingyan could rely on this primal chaos tablet to break through in one go. Unfortunately, the final result would ultimately disappoint them. After obtaining another 9 identity tokens, Bailey Hongzhuang's number of identity tokens had become third. Other than Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue, she had obtained the most identity tokens. However, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't intend to end like this. She also didn't expect that this battle of vying for deer would have such a good start. However, as long as there was such an opportunity, she wouldn't miss it. She wanted to use this opportunity to let her name, Bailey Hongzhuang, resound throughout the world. This way, when she went to the Lan family, they wouldn't treat her as an ordinary person. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang continued forward. The current her was no longer as unfamiliar with this mysterious primal chaos tablet as before. Instead, she was extremely familiar with it. She was very thankful for the primal chaos tablet. If not for it, she wouldn't have such an improvement. The fourth step. When everyone saw Bailey Hongzhuang take the fourth step, they couldn't help but gasp. So far, Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue had made it the furthest. Who would have thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would make it to the fourth step so smoothly after waking up? 12 identity cards appeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang kept them without hesitation. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang took the fifth step. Lan Qingyan was completely dumbfounded after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's actions. Her face was filled with disbelief. How difficult it was to comprehend the primal chaos tablet. All the cultivators present were extremely clear. If she didn't have the help of the Rainbow God Pearl, it wouldn't have been easy for her to reach this step. However, this extremely difficult task was accomplished so smoothly by Bailey Hongzhuang. Lan Qingyan only felt that her heart had been ruthlessly smashed. This Bailey Hongzhuang who was surrounded by a halo really made her envious. Chapter 2471. Feeling Lan Qingyan's gaze filled with jealousy, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a mocking smile. Seems like Lan Qingyan still didn't have a very good tolerance. Fifth step. Sixth step. Bailey Hongzhuang directly appeared in front of the primal chaos tablet, her right hand covering the tablet. Feeling that familiar aura, Bailey Hongzhuang's smile couldn't help but widen. Her heart was filled with gratitude towards the primal chaos tablet. Ever since she entered the vast space, the primal chaos tablet had been using its own power to help her. Thinking about it, every cultivator who had the Rainbow God Pearl would be very thankful for the existence of the primal chaos tablet. Only what made her surprised was that the primal chaos ring and the primal chaos tablet had a very special connection. If she linked everything together, she suddenly felt that her transmigration into Bailey Hongzhuang's body might have been predestined. Many thanks. Bailey Hongzhuang bowed towards the primal chaos tablet. Maybe to other people, the primal chaos tablet was just a tablet with the power of laws. But she knew that the primal chaos tablet had its own spirituality. Any treasure born from heaven and earth would have its own spirituality. The vast space that she went to was the origin world of the primal chaos tablet. All the cultivators present had their mouths wide open as they stared blankly at Bailey Hongzhuang walking step by step towards the origin world of the primal chaos tablet. This scene completely stunned them. Even if they knew Bailey Hongzhuang's comprehension, but at most she was on the same level as Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue. But Bailey Hongzhuang actually walked in front of the primal chaos tablet. How could these cultivators who had worked so hard for so long just to take 1 or 2 steps endure this? In comparison, they were nothing but trash. The most important thing was that Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly bowed towards the primal chaos tablet and said words of gratitude. This was really strange. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang had obtained the primal chaos tablet's special inheritance without them knowing? That was why she was able to have such a shocking performance? No matter what, everyone was clear that the first place of the Battle of Zhuolu was definitely Bailey Hongzhuang. She had obtained so many identity tablets just from the primal chaos tablet. Who could compare to Bailey Hongzhuang? Di Beichen and the rest looked thoughtfully at Bailey Hongzhuang's actions. If their judgment wasn't wrong, Bailey Hongzhuang definitely obtained the primal chaos tablet's guidance in her previous state. If not, Bailey Hongzhuang wouldn't be able to comprehend so much. But, to Di Beichen and the rest, this was an extremely good thing. Di Beichen, your wife's? When's Bailey Hongzhuang's performance? As long as the Battle of Zhuolu ended, Bailey Hongzhuang's name would definitely spread throughout the world. With Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance, identity and current strength, luckily Bewitching had acted early. Otherwise, who knew how many people would be chasing after Bailey Hongzhuang? He couldn't help but admire his brother's eyesight. It was really good. Even the young master of Shirtian Tower didn't have such a good opportunity. Bewitching smiled evilly and winked. My eyesight is naturally good. You're taking advantage of me. Seeing Bewitching being so shameless, Zhuang couldn't help but shake his head. This guy would definitely be a wife-flaunting demon in the future. Chapter 2472. By the time everyone could see clearly again, they were already on the ground. Looking carefully, everyone found that there was a high platform in front of them. On the high platform stood a few powerful elders. These are the people in charge of announcing the results this time. They are the Lan family, the Cloud Sword sect, and the Heng Mountain sect. Bewitching whispered in Bailey Hongzhuang's ear. Every time the Battle of Zhuelu was held, not all forces would participate. Therefore, every time, 3 forces would send people with high authority to announce the final results. Not only that, most of the 3 forces were not involved with each other. This was to prevent the possibility of cheating. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. This method was indeed very fair. However, she felt that the name of the Heng Mountain sect seemed very familiar. Have we seen the people from the Heng Mountain sect before? Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but ask. Bewitching raised his handsome eyebrows slightly. Speaking of which, we really did not meet the cultivators from the Heng Mountain sect in the main hall. Previously, there were many forces, so he did not pay special attention. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang mentioned it, he remembered that they had not seen the team from the Heng Mountain sect from the beginning to the end. Master, wasn't the Heng Mountain sect the team that was trapped in the array by us before? Xiao He could not help but remind him. The cultivators from Wuji Palace were also helpless. Their young palace master was really busy. Previously, he did not even pay with his life. Now, he even forgot who the other party was. If the Heng Mountain sect's young palace master knew about this, he would probably vomit blood again. So it's them. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly realized. I forgot. She did not see the cultivators from the Heng Mountain sect, so she did not remember them. However, according to Bewitching's words, didn't this mean that the cultivators from the Heng Mountain sect had been trapped in the array from the beginning until the end of the Battle of Zhuelu? It seemed that the cultivators from the Heng Mountain sect were really tragic. Feng Qinyi was very upset. The trial of the Battle of Zhuelu happened to fall on their Hengshan sect. He had originally intended to take advantage of this opportunity to perform well, but he did not expect that his identity card would be stolen by a sneak attack, and then he would be trapped in the array formation. He had already wandered around the demonic miasma forest countless times, but he just couldn't get out. In the end, the entire team was exhausted and did not have any hope of coming out. They might as well just wait for the Battle of Zhuelu to end. This was really a bad start. Needless to say, they would be the last in the Battle of Zhuelu. The most despicable thing was that the other party actually claimed to be the young palace master of Limitless Palace. Even if he lost, he must find out who the other party was. Just as everyone was discussing and thinking that they could have a good rest after the Battle of Zhuelu, an old man on the high platform spoke first. I'm the Cloud Sword sect's Grand Elder, Feng Weilan. As soon as this was said, everyone present quieted down and listened carefully to the person on the high platform. Next to me is the Lan family's Grand Elder, Lan Burong, and the Heng Mountain sect's Grand Elder, Wei Liwa. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others all bowed. These 3 people were all very powerful and had a very high status among the 3. Chapter 2473. Today marks the end of the Battle of Zhuelu. The 3 of us will witness everyone's strength. Feng Weilan's expression was indifferent. His gaze was even gentler when it landed on Xiren and Shangguan Ing. He hoped that the young sect master and his wife would achieve good results in the Battle of Zhuelu. The rankings of the Battle of Zhuelu include the individual and team competitions. We will first determine the team's results. The 3 elders clearly didn't intend to waste any more time on this matter. The final rankings were what they were most concerned about. As long as the rankings were confirmed, the major powers would make some adjustments in the next few years. As for the rest, everyone present was a cultivator who had experienced hundreds of battles. There was no need to continue with the formalities. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze landed on the Lan family's first elder, Lan Burong. According to what she knew from Lan Yunxiao, the majority of the Lan family's elders supported Lan Jingquang. Only a small portion of them supported Lan Yunxiao. Among them, Lan Burong was the elder who watched Lan Yunxiao grow up and treated him extremely well. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't expect to see Lan Burong here. She hesitated for a moment, but still felt that there was no need to hide her identity in front of Lan Burong. In any case, they would be heading to the Lan family soon. She believed in her father's judgment. Since her father believed that Lan Burong was on their side, then she didn't need to worry. Following Feng Weilan's words, the rankings of the teams appeared on the huge black square pillar at the front. There were a total of 40 teams present, and every team's ranking was clearly reflected on it. However, the rankings were slowly displayed from the bottom to the top. When everyone saw that the 40th team was from the Heng Mountain sect, their expressions couldn't help but become more interesting. The team that originally thought that they would be at the bottom didn't expect to have an existence worse than them. They were instantly overjoyed. The moment she saw the ranking, Wei Lihua's expression froze. Before the Battle of Zhuolu began, their young sect master had bitterly cultivated for a long time and was full of confidence in this Battle of Zhuolu. How could they be at the bottom? Moreover, this time, the Hengshan sect was the one who announced the final result. This was a great loss of face. Feng Qianyi's face was already ugly to the extreme. Although he had already expected this situation, when it really happened, he still lost all his face. He just wanted to find a hole to hide in. All the cultivators present looked at the cultivators of the Heng Mountain sect and Wei Lihua. This time, the Heng Mountain sect was really a dark horse. Although the strength of the Heng Mountain faction was not the best, it should be in the middle level. Unexpectedly, it was at the bottom this time. We didn't see Feng Qianyi and the others in the main hall. Where did they go? After Wei Lihua heard everyone's discussion and saw Feng Qianyi's extremely vexed expression, she had already guessed a possibility in her mind. Young sect master, you wouldn't have taken that path, would you? As soon as she said that, Feng Weilan and Lan Borong's expressions changed a little. They immediately understood which path Wei Lihua was talking about. If that was really the case, then it was not surprising that the Heng Mountain sect had achieved such a result. Chapter 2474. Following Feng Qianyi's words, the cultivators who had some doubts suddenly understood what was going on. They had also heard of the legendary path, but they were very glad that they did not encounter it. However, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other cultivators from Limitless Palace looked at each other, not understanding what Feng Qianyi meant. Weren't they walking the same path as Feng Qianyi? Why did the others have such strange expressions? Zion couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect that the winner this time would be the Hengshan sect. No one else has such luck. Shangguan Yingying also covered her mouth and laughed. Didn't you see how ugly Feng Qianyi's face was? This time, the Hengshan sect has really lost face. Yingying, what are you laughing at? Is there something wrong with the path that the Hengshan sect took? Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but ask. Hongzhuang, you don't know, but there is a path that none of the participating teams are willing to take in the battle for deer. It is the path that the Hengshan sect took this time. It is said that the test on that path is very difficult, and there is also the existence of the array. Therefore, the last place in every battle for deer is mostly the team that was assigned to that path. Shangguan Yingying laughed and explained to Bailey Hongzhuang. Before participating in the battle for deer, they were constantly praying in their hearts, hoping that they would not be the unluckiest ones. Hearing this, the cultivators from Limitless Palace reacted. Previously, they were still lamenting that the difficulty of the battle for deer was really high. If it wasn't for the young palace master's heaven-defying ability, they were afraid that they would not be able to make it. Compared to that, the test in the underground passage was not difficult at all. Now, they finally understood what was going on. It wasn't that every team's path was so difficult. It was just that they weren't lucky. However, compared to their harvest, it could not be said that they were unlucky. I was wondering why the tests along the way were so difficult. It turns out that we took the path that no one was willing to take. Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but sigh. As soon as this was said, Shengguan Ying and the others could not help but be stunned. They only suspected that they had misheard. Hongzhuang, what did you just say? Did you take that path as well? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. That's right. I thought every path would be difficult. Instantly, the smiles on everyone's faces froze as they stared at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief. Hongzhuang, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? When Xiren asked, there's no mistake. Feng Qianyi's identity medallion is still with me. Bailey Hongzhuang naturally took out Feng Qianyi's identity card. This was the first identity card she had obtained. When everyone clearly saw Feng Qianyi's name written on the identity card, everyone's expressions suddenly became interesting. Solid evidence. This was irrefutable evidence. Shengguan Ying couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Hongzhuang, you can still walk out of that road. I really admire you. You broke the record of the battle for deer for so many years. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue did not know what to say at this moment. That road was notoriously difficult to walk, but Bailey Hongzhuang did not know anything and still walked down it. If Feng Qianyi knew, he would probably be angered to death. Chapter 2475. After all, every time a team participated in the Battle of Zhuolu, there would be such an unlucky team. Everyone was already used to it. It could only be said that their Hengshan sect was unlucky. It was not because they did not have the strength. At this time, Feng Qianyi searched through all the teams and finally found Limitless Palace's figure. The next moment, Feng Qianyi immediately walked to the front of Limitless Palace's team. He still remembered the words that guy said to him. Until now, he could not help but feel angry when he thought of it. The other party actually claimed to be the young palace master of Limitless Palace. Limitless Palace did not have a young palace master at all. Is there a young palace master of Limitless Palace in your team? Feng Qianyi stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. His face could not hide his annoyance. When these words came out, the cultivators present looked at Feng Qianyi in astonishment. They did not understand why Feng Qianyi would find trouble with Limitless Palace at this time. Only the disciples of Limitless Palace knew. To be honest, the young palace master had clearly left her real name. However, Feng Qianyi's brain did not believe it. The people who attacked us previously claimed to be from Limitless Palace. They even left the name of Limitless Palace's young palace master, Bailey Hongzhuang. I just want to know if this matter is true. Feng Qianyi was a stubborn person. He was unlucky to be trapped in the array this time. He accepted it. However, the other party played with him. He could not just let it go like this. Every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. No matter what, he had to know which team he was defeated by. Following Feng Qianyi's words, the expressions of all the cultivators present became strange. They only knew the name of Limitless Palace's young palace master, Bailey Hongzhuang, when they were in the main hall. However, Feng Qianyi was clearly surrounded by a sneak attack before that. Logically speaking, there should not be anyone who pretended to be Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform. Wei Lihua and the other two looked at Feng Qianyi in confusion. They did not understand what Feng Qianyi was doing at this time. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Feng Qianyi in front of her. This guy's appearance did not match his name. Feng Qianyi was slightly plump, and his round face was filled with indignation. The stubbornness in his bones was also revealed. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. That's right, I'm the one who took your identity card. From the beginning to the end, she had never intended to deny this matter. It was just that Feng Qianyi himself did not believe it. Feng Qianyi originally thought that he would definitely get a negative answer. Therefore, he did not seriously size up Limitless Palace's team. Instead, he wanted to know how long the team that ambushed him could last. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang admitted it, Feng Qianyi was dumbfounded. I am Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang emphasized again. Before she had participated in the Battle of Zhuolu, almost no one had known her name as Bailey Hongzhuang. Once the Battle of Zhuolu was over, she wanted everyone to know of her existence. Only then did Feng Qianyi notice the identity card with his name written on it in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. He was dumbfounded. How could this be? Feng Qianyi's face turned into the color of a pig's liver. His original imposing manner disappeared in an instant. The other party had been speaking the truth all along. However, he was angry because the other party had lied to him for such a long time. However, this Bailey Hongzhuang was too honest. Didn't the usual sneak attack not leave a name? Chapter 2476. Originally, everyone was confused about this matter, but after seeing the identity card in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand, everyone understood the reason. It turned out that not only were Feng Qianyi's group trapped in the array, even their identity tokens were taken away. So, Bailey Hongzhuang and Heng Shan Sek's people took the same path? Then why did Bailey Hongzhuang's group walk out? The people from Limitless Palace couldn't have walked through the most difficult path, right? It seems to be so. The cultivators looked at each other in dismay. This news was really explosive. For so many years, no one had successfully walked through the group, but someone had actually walked through it. Feng Qianyi didn't think of this point before. Now that he understood, his gaze towards Bailey Hongzhuang was filled with fear. He always thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's group would be trapped in the front, but from the others' expressions, it was clearly not the case. Wei Lihua and Feng Weilan, who were on the high platform, looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. Limitless Palace's group actually walked through this path. This was really amazing. Most importantly, for so many years, cultivators couldn't walk through it, so how did Limitless Palace's group walk through it? Logically speaking, Limitless Palace's palace master absolutely wouldn't reveal the content of this test. In fact, even if he revealed it, Bailey Hongzhuang's group wouldn't be able to pass with the difficulty of this test. However, they actually passed. The two's emotions kept changing. It seemed that Limitless Palace's cultivators weren't ordinary. Lan family's great elder Lan Borong stared at the pale golden figure in a daze. His eyes were filled with disbelief, and his heart was in a perilous situation. How was this possible? The young woman in front of him was so similar to Mu Lingbing in the past. Even, he could vaguely see Lan Yunxiao's silhouette. However, that child couldn't have survived at that time. Lan Borong only felt that his brain had stopped at this moment, and he couldn't think properly. He understood everything that happened at that time. Everyone was helpless. Even if Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing took out their treasures, they still couldn't save him. After that, the Yu family wasn't willing to save him, so Lan Yunxiao's group completely disappeared. For so many years, he never received any news of Lan Yunxiao's group. However, the face in front of him was clearly so familiar. How could he not have any connection with her? If that child was still alive, he should have reached this age by now. Lan Borong kept thinking about all these possibilities in his mind. Then how did she become the young palace mistress of Limitless Palace? Moreover, her surname was Bailey, not Lan. Could it be this was just a coincidence? Lan Borong couldn't figure it out. This news was too shocking for him. He couldn't figure it out at all. Wei Lihua and Feng Weilan couldn't help but look at Lan Borong on the side, but they saw the shocked expression on Lan Borong's face. They couldn't help but sigh in their hearts that Lan Borong's shock towards Bailey Hongzhuang was even greater than theirs. Bailey Hongzhuang also noticed the change in Lan Borong's expression. Others didn't know why Lan Borong was shocked, but she was very clear in her heart. Reveal it. You will know everything sooner or later. Chapter 2477. Such a despicable matter had happened to the usually glorious Lan family. No one stood on the side of justice and had persecuted their family to such a state. However, the truth would never be so easily covered up, because those who were oppressed were so unreconciled. Even if they spent their entire lives and let themselves sink in pain, they would never forget that filthy and despicable scene. She would never forget. Lan Yunxiao would never forget. Mu Lingbing would never forget. Mu Jin's would never forget. Sidu Yen would never forget. Their entire family would never forget. Hence, they wanted to expose everything in front of everyone. The sharp D. Beichen also noticed the changes in Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Borong's expressions. In fact, from the moment he knew that Lan Borong had appeared here, Bewitching couldn't help but worry. Bailey Hongzhuang and Mu Lingbing looked too similar. As long as it was the older generation of the Lan family, anyone who had seen Mu Lingbing before would definitely recognize Bailey Hongzhuang. Hence, he had been paying attention to Lan Borong. As expected, the moment Lan Borong saw Bailey Hongzhuang, he was clearly stunned. He definitely recognized Bailey Hongzhuang. At the same time, he also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang's indifference and calmness. It seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang was already prepared to meet the Lan family at any time. Since that was the case, he was relieved. With their current background, there was no need for them to hide like before. Even if they were to openly challenge the Lan family, they wouldn't be afraid. The blood feud that they had prepared for so many years was finally going to be unveiled. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Feng Qianyi, who was staring at her in a daze with an awkward expression and didn't know how to get out of the embarrassing situation. She slowly said, "Young Master Feng, this is my first time participating in the Battle of Zhuolu. If I have done anything wrong, I hope that you will be magnanimous enough to forgive me." Speaking of which, Feng Qianyi was also an unlucky fellow who had been harmed by her array. In a battlefield like the Battle of Zhuolu, small conflicts were extremely normal. Logically speaking, there was no need to be too calculative. She believed that Feng Qianyi would not be so serious. After all, there were winners and losers in the competition. Feng Qianyi originally didn't know how to get out of this situation. Now that he saw Bailey Hongzhuang giving him a way out, he naturally went along with it. "Young Palace Master Bailey, I am truly sorry for my ignorance." Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. "This is my first time attending as Limitless Palace's Young Palace Master. It's normal for young Master Feng to not know." After Feng Qianyi and Bailey Hongzhuang exchanged a few pleasantries, Feng Qianyi returned to his team. Although it was still somewhat awkward, it was undoubtedly much better than before. Originally, he was full of resentment towards the person who ambushed him, but after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang, he wasn't so angry anymore. On the contrary, he felt that his tolerance couldn't be compared to Bailey Hongzhuang. He was really apologetic. The rankings on the ranking board continued to appear. The earlier the teams saw their names, the more depressed they were. On the other hand, the teams that didn't see their names were filled with anticipation. Lan family 20th place. When Lan Borong saw this ranking, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He only suspected that he had seen wrongly. 20th place? Their Lan family was always in the top few every time. How did they fall to 20th place this time? Chapter 2478. However, after noticing Lan Qingyan's missing right arm, Lan Borong already understood in his heart. The Lan clan had probably encountered an extremely terrible situation in the Battle of Zhuolu this time. With Lan Qingyan's strength, it was easy to imagine that she had fallen to such a state. Wei Lihua, who was originally in a very bad mood, felt a little comforted after seeing the Lan clan's ranking. She didn't expect the Lan clan's performance to be so bad this time. They were originally in the top few, but this time they fell to the 20th place. Their Hengshan sect was originally in the middle level, but now they had fallen to the last place. In essence, they were the same. Cloud Sword sect's elder Feng Weilan was in an extremely good mood. It seemed that at least their Cloud Sword sect didn't encounter such an unexpected situation. The Ouyang clan's performance this time wasn't greatly affected by the Lan clan, and they obtained the 10th place. 8th place, Sun Moon Palace. After everyone saw the name Sun Moon Palace, the teams present couldn't help but sigh. Sun Moon Palace had been in seclusion for so many years, many people had already neglected them. However, they still obtained such an amazing result in the Battle of Zhuolu. From this, it seemed that even if the other party was in seclusion, their strength wasn't weak at all. If they underestimated them because of this, they would be the unlucky ones. 4th place, Cloud Sword sect. When he saw this result, Feng Weilan's face couldn't help but reveal a thick smile. This ranking was already an extremely good result for their Cloud Sword sect. In the next few years, the Cloud Sword sect's right to speak would increase again. The young palace master and young palace master's wife lived up to everyone's expectations, and their results were excellent. When Ziran and Shangguan Yinging also revealed joyful smiles after seeing this result. They didn't cultivate so hard for so long in vain. Looking at this result now, they felt that everything was worth it. Second place, Shirtian Pavilion. Second place, Tiangang Sect. When these two second places appeared, everyone couldn't help but be surprised. Because there was no third place but two second places. Lan Barong and the others were also surprised when they saw this situation, but after thinking carefully, they understood. Shirtian Pavilion and Tiangang Sect had obtained the same number of identity cards, so they were tied for second place. This kind of situation had happened before, but it was the first time it had happened in second place. Everyone could not help but exclaim. Previously when they saw Bewitching and Mo Yunjue's performance in front of the Primal Chaos tablet, they felt that the two of them were equally matched. Who would have thought that the number of identity cards in this team would be exactly the same? These two people were really fated. The three beasts, when Ziran and the rest were speechless when they saw this scene. This was too much of a coincidence. What an ill-fated fate. Compared to everyone else's shock, Bewitching and Mo Yunjue's expressions were extremely calm. This result was not out of their expectations. After marveling at the strength of these two forces, everyone's gaze landed on Limitless Palace. As expected, the first place belonged to Limitless Palace. The number of identity cards that Bailey Hongzhuang alone had obtained was equivalent to the number of identity cards that the other team had. It would be strange if they didn't get first place. First place, Limitless Palace. When these 6 resplendent words appeared, everyone couldn't help but exclaim. Chapter 2479. On the high platform, Feng Weilan and the other two couldn't help but be stunned. The result of this battle of Zhuolu was truly unexpected. In their opinion, the biggest possibility of getting first place was Tiangang Sect. However, the one who got first place turned out to be Limitless Palace, which no one thought of. This was really a dark horse. It seemed like Limitless Palace's development in these few years couldn't be underestimated. Moreover, Limitless Palace's team had passed through the most difficult team. Linking all of these together, it proved that Limitless Palace's team was truly strong. Lan Qingyan couldn't hide the jealousy in her eyes. All the glory and limelight had been snatched away by Bailey Hongzhuang alone. She was truly unhappy. She had already lost this battle of Zhuolu. The next time she met Bailey Hongzhuang, she would definitely win it back. After Lan Barong knew about Bailey Hongzhuang's achievements, he was even more shocked. If Bailey Hongzhuang was really Lan Yunxiao and Mu Lingbing's child, then it wasn't strange for her to be so outstanding. After all, like father, like daughter. However, her dantian was completely shattered and couldn't be recovered. It was impossible for her to become a cultivator. Lan Barong kept thinking about these thoughts. After returning to the Lan family, he would definitely tell the family head this news. All these years, they might have overlooked many things. He knew how important Lan Yunxiao was in the family head's heart. After that incident, the family head directly spat out a mouthful of blood. After so many years, the family head had never given up on searching for Lan Yunxiao. However, they seemed to have disappeared into thin air and couldn't be found at all. If Lan Yunxiao and the rest were still alive, the family head would be much more relieved. After all, it was a knot in the family head's heart that he couldn't untie. Lan Yunxiao and the rest had disappeared for nearly 20 years. Ever since they disappeared, the family head had never bothered with Lan Jingquang. As the family head's good brother, he clearly knew that the saddest thing for the family head was that the two sons he was so proud of couldn't help each other and instead fought to this extent. The top 3 teams this time will receive the cultivation resources provided by the major forces. After the Battle of Zhuolu, the resources will be sent to your respective forces as soon as possible. Feng Weilan said slowly. As soon as he said that, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others smiled faintly. The cultivation resources offered by the various major forces would not be lacking, and gathering them together would naturally bring about benefits that could not be ignored. Next, we will announce the results of the individual competition. Only the top 10 will be announced. Lan Barong said slowly. At this moment, he had already recovered from his previous shock. No matter what the truth was, he had to wait until he returned to the Lan clan before making any other plans. Very quickly, the results on the stone pillar disappeared and were replaced by the individual rankings. Compared to the nervousness of the others, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were extremely calm, because they already knew the outcome. Master, our harvest this time is really not small. Xiao Hei's eyes sparkled. When she first participated in the Battle of Zhuolu, she was very nervous. She never thought that she would have a chance to win. Not only did Limitless Palace's reputation become more resounding, we also obtained many benefits. Xiao Bai rubbed her hands. Even if she hadn't seen the treasures, she didn't need to think to know that these treasures were definitely not bad. Chapter 2480. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the happy faces of the three little guys and the smile in her eyes became even gentler. You guys have contributed greatly in this battle of vying for the throne. After we go back, I'll treat you guys to a big meal. How about it? Master is the best. The three beasties were full of smiles. They hadn't eaten any delicacies for 3 months and they really missed it. In the end, as expected, Bewitching and Mo Yunjue were tied for second place. When the crowd saw that Bewitching and Mo Yunjue had the same result again, they only thought that the two of them were at odds with each other. Things were so coincidental that it made people sigh in admiration. Bailey Hongzhuang also couldn't understand how the two of them could be so coincidental that they obtained the same number of identity tablets. Logically speaking, this was something that was hard to achieve even if it was specially arranged. First place, Bailey Hongzhuang. When the 7 different colored words appeared again, the crowd couldn't help but gasp in admiration. In this battle of vying for the throne, Bailey Hongzhuang was really in the limelight. No other powerhouse could compare to Limitless Palace. All the limelight had been overshadowed by them. Limitless Palace's cultivators were full of joy. Before the competition, although they hoped to get a good result, they didn't even dare to think of getting first place. They didn't think that it would actually land on their heads. They didn't disappoint the palace master's expectations for them. This would be their life's glory. Lan Qingyan didn't enter the top 10. This result was too different from what she had thought before coming. She was afraid that when she returned to her family, this result would be criticized. Once she thought of this and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang who was flushed with success, Lan Qingyan almost ground her teeth to pieces. If it wasn't for Bailey Hongzhuang, the person who was flushed with success would be her. She really couldn't understand how Bailey Hongzhuang was able to obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet's approval. She believed that her senses weren't wrong. There was a connection between the Primal Chaos Tablet and the Rainbow God Bead. She felt that after comprehending the Primal Chaos Tablet, the Rainbow God Bead in her body had become stronger. Logically speaking, she was the one who was most likely to be accepted. Why was Bailey Hongzhuang accepted? When Lan Borong saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was the winner of this competition, his expression became even more complicated. From his perspective, Bailey Hongzhuang was definitely not an ordinary person. On the contrary, she was very outstanding. No matter if it was her way of dealing with people or her temperament, she was much more mature than Lan Qingyan. She was neither arrogant nor rash. Even if she had the upper hand, she knew how to use the simplest method to win the other party's favor. If it was Lan Qingyan, when Feng Qianyi was in that situation, it would be good enough if she didn't kick him while he was down. She wouldn't have given Feng Qianyi a way out. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was magnanimous enough. First, she lowered her own status so that the other party wouldn't feel the slightest bit of falsehood. Then she gratefully accepted her good intentions. Previously, Feng Qianyi was still full of resentment towards Bailey Hongzhuang. But because of such a simple matter, Feng Qianyi already didn't care about the previous matter. On the contrary, he even accepted Bailey Hongzhuang's favor. This seemed like a very simple matter, but with his sharp eyes, he could already see a lot. Chapter 2481. Turning his gaze, Lan Borong also noticed Lan Qingyan's face filled with hatred. He couldn't help but feel helpless. Regarding Lan Qingyan's temperament, he had always felt helpless. If the clan leader had such a temperament, it would not be easy to handle the clan's affairs in the future. However, Lan Qingyan's temperament seemed to be innate and could not be changed. All these years, the elders had also discussed this matter. However, the most outstanding person in the entire Lan clan was Lan Qingyan. Moreover, Lan Qingyan was the owner of the Rainbow Pearl, so her position as the clan leader was unshakable. As the elders in the clan, they could only do their best to help Lan Qingyan. The Lan clan absolutely could not fall because of Lan Qingyan's temperament, but they still had a trace of hope. Lan Qingyan's current arrogant and domineering temperament was only due to her youth. When she truly became the clan leader, her temperament should change. The top 3 in the individual competition this time can enter the Lan clan's Divine Ice Lake to cultivate for a month. The Divine Ice Lake will open 3 months later. At that time, the 3 of you can come to my Lan clan as guests. Lan Borong's face was filled with a faint smile. His gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang and the other 2. Following Lan Borong's words, the originally noisy crowd could not help but let out a cry of surprise. The Lan clan's Divine Ice Lake was very famous. Many years ago, the Lan clan had also used it as a reward for the Battle of Zhuolu. Cultivators who cultivated in the Divine Ice Lake for a month would have the opportunity to increase their cultivation. Moreover, their spiritual roots would also be improved to a certain extent, helping the cultivator to reach a higher level. The further a cultivator cultivated, the harder it would be to break through, especially when crossing from the blue realm to the purple realm. Any impurity could affect the result of the breakthrough. Therefore, everyone would make sufficient preparations to break through to the purple realm. As long as they could increase their chances of winning by a little, it would be excellent. This Divine Ice Lake was an opportunity that everyone had always been envious of. Who would have thought that the Lan clan would take it out as a reward this time? It was really enviable. Everyone's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, Di Beichen, and Mo Yunjue. This was an enviable opportunity. Normally, the Lan family's ice snow divine pond was only used by the Lan family's cultivators. Other people had no chance to enter. Who would have thought that Bailey Hongzhuang and the other 2 would be so lucky? Not only that, but even though the divine pond of ice and snow belonged to the Lan family, it could not be used at any time. It was only available once every 3 years, and only a few people could use it each time. If he missed it this time, he would have to wait for 3 years. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know much about the divine pond of ice and snow, but from the envious expressions of the others, she knew that the divine pond of ice and snow wasn't simple. She had never enjoyed the cultivation resources of the Lan family. It seemed that she would have to make a trip to the Lan family in 3 months. Speaking of which, she was really looking forward to it. The environment that she was supposed to be incomparably familiar with was now frighteningly unfamiliar. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue couldn't help but look at each other. This was really a coincidence. The Lan family had only taken out the opportunity to enter the divine pond of ice and snow twice. They didn't expect that they would encounter it this time. Chapter 2482. When Lan Barong returned to the Lan family, he would definitely report this matter. Needless to say, the Lan family would immediately send people to investigate this matter. Even though they had kept this matter under wraps, there was no guarantee that no clues would be leaked out. However, even if it was a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, they would still accompany Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang turned her head and saw Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue's slightly dignified expressions. She couldn't help but smile. It seemed that they had the same idea. She would definitely not give up on this opportunity. The 3 of them looked at each other and smiled. 3 months later, going to the Lan family would probably be a different experience. After knowing that Bailey Hongzhuang was going to the Lan family, Lan Qingyan's eyes couldn't help but reveal a smug smile. The Lan clan, that was Lan Qingyan's home ground. Previously, Bailey Hongzhuang dared to bully her. When Bailey Hongzhuang went to the Lan family, she would let Bailey Hongzhuang have a good taste of what it felt like to bully others. The humiliation that Bailey Hongzhuang gave her, she would return it back in folds. Master, that Lan Qingyan must have some bad ideas in her heart. Baisher noticed Lan Qingyan's smug expression and couldn't help but feel dissatisfied. Just by looking at this evil woman's expression, he knew that she must be thinking of some despicable means. After going to the Lan family, no one knew what would happen. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze turned slightly. As expected, she saw the viciousness in Lan Qingyan's eyes that hadn't dissipated in time. Lan Qingyan also didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to suddenly turn around. She couldn't help but feel guilty. She didn't want Bailey Hongzhuang to run away. If Bailey Hongzhuang gave up this opportunity, then she didn't know when she would be able to turn the tables. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly curved into a mocking smile. She looked at Lan Qingyan provocatively. Her meaning was obvious. If you have the ability, then come at me. No matter what Lan Qingyan did, she was not afraid. On the contrary, it was Lan Qingyan who should be afraid. Afraid that she didn't know when all the things she had snatched away would leave her. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not intend to remind her. It wouldn't be long before the outcome of the battle was revealed. When Lan Qingyan saw Bailey Hongzhuang being so arrogant, she couldn't help but get angry. This woman was even more arrogant than her. It seemed that her previous worries were unnecessary. Bailey Hongzhuang was like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. At that time, she would let Bailey Hongzhuang experience her, Lan Qingyan's, methods. So what if she killed Limitless Palace's young palace master? Everyone's gaze couldn't help but fall onto Bailey Hongzhuang and Lan Qingyan. The reward that the Lan family had given out this time was too coincidental. The cultivators who were originally prepared to get closer to Limitless Palace after the Battle of Zhuelu couldn't help but hesitate. Once Bailey Hongzhuang went to the Lan family, it could be a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. The Lan family was Lan Qingyan's home ground. It was almost impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to take advantage of it. If something happened to Bailey Hongzhuang in the Lan family, they would have to carefully consider how the wind would change. The Battle of Zhuelu had ended. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others returned home with a proud record and went to the place where the transmission array was located. Wife, are you mentally prepared for this trip to the Lan family? Chapter 2483. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. I've already mentally prepared myself. I'll have to go sooner or later. It's not a bad thing to go earlier. She no longer feared the Lan family. Even if she had to reveal her identity to everyone in the Lan family, she wouldn't care at all. The only thing she was worried about was her parents. She didn't know how her parents' bodies had recovered in the past few months. She hoped that the next time she returned to the Lan family, the whole family would return together. However, the 20 years of torture had taken a toll on their bodies. It wouldn't be easy for them to recover. Before she had left the Sun Moon Palace, she had already tried her best to concoct pills to help her parents recover. She believed that during this period of time, her maternal grandparents would also use all the heavenly treasures they had to help her parents recover. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know how long it had been since she had recovered. She would check on her parents' situation when she returned. If possible, it was time for them to appear in front of the Lan family. Bewitching saw that Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was calm. She didn't seem to be worried or pretending to be strong. He was also relieved. Hongzhuang had always been strong. Perhaps other people would have been crushed by this kind of situation. However, Hongzhuang had managed to break through under this kind of pressure. He believed that Hongzhuang would be able to face the Lan family calmly in the future. Mo Yunjue looked at the strong Bailey Hongzhuang and didn't say anything. Hongzhuang didn't have the weakness and helplessness of other women. However, the strength she displayed made one's heart ache even more. In the past, he had always felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was carrying a burden on her shoulders. However, he wasn't sure what it was. Ever since he understood why Bailey Hongzhuang was so strong. Many times, it was the environment that forced people to grow. They didn't have a choice. Xiren and Shangguan Yingying didn't know the deeper meaning behind Bewitching's question. They only thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would suffer Lan Qingyan's revenge when she went to the Lan family. Hongzhuang, don't worry. Shangguan Yingying's face rippled with a concerned smile. This time, you are all going to the Lan clan as the top 3 in the Battle of Zhuelu. Even if Lan Qingyan wants to make things difficult for you, you can't make it too obvious. Otherwise, it will be detrimental to the Lan clan's reputation. I believe that the people of the Lan clan will not allow Lan Qingyan to run amok. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly and nodded. I understand. This divine pond of ice and snow is a good opportunity. I will not give up just because of Lan Qingyan. Shangguan Yingying gave him a thumbs up. If you don't go, then Lan Qingyan will be really happy. So you must go. Yingying is right. Xiren echoed. With your current strength and the help of the divine ice lake, you will be in existence that threatens Lan Qingyan's position in the future. That's why Lan Qingyan is acting like this. Di Beichen and the others looked at each other and smiled. They were willing to do anything that made the enemy uncomfortable. That's right, Hongzhuang. What happened to you in front of the Primal Chaos Tablet? Why were you in such a strange state? Shangguan Yingying's face was filled with curiosity. Previously, when Bailey Hongzhuang entered that state, she was already very curious. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's shocking performance, she became even more curious. Chapter 2484. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes focused on Bailey Hongzhuang's body. Towards this point, they were truly curious. They had never encountered such a situation before. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. When I was comprehending the Primal Chaos Tablet, I suddenly realized that I had entered a vast space. If I didn't guess wrongly, that should be the origin world of the Primal Chaos Tablet. Afterwards, I kept walking in this vast space, feeling the power of the space to help me cultivate. I had no understanding of the outside world and had no way of leaving. Only when the Battle of Zhuelu was about to end did I come out. With regards to this point, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't intend to hide it. Thinking about it, the fated people of the other Primal Chaos Tablets would also see such a world. However, she didn't reveal the connection between the Rainbow God Pearl, the Primal Chaos Ring and the Primal Chaos Tablet. Before heading to the Lan family, she wouldn't reveal the Rainbow God Pearl. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Shangguan Yingying and the others' faces were filled with amazement. I didn't expect the Primal Chaos Tablet to have such a mystical world. Hongzhuang, you're the fated person of the Primal Chaos Tablet. Xiren's eyes were filled with indescribable emotions. Such a fortuitous encounter was truly enviable. Even though he only heard a few sentences from Bailey Hongzhuang, he could feel the uniqueness of that vast world. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue were also shocked by Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's comprehension was truly exceptional. Out of all the cultivators present, she had to be chosen. Just based on this point, it was enough to judge. It's just a coincidence. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. If it wasn't for the Rainbow God Pearl and the Primal Chaos Ring, she wouldn't have been able to enter the origin world of the Primal Chaos Tablet. Hongzhuang, where are you planning to go later? There were only 3 months left before heading to the Lan family. It seemed like there was still a long time, but in reality, there wasn't much time left. There was no teleportation array between Limitless Palace, Heavenly Dipper Sect, and Sun Moon Palace. If they were to rush, they would need to spend a lot of time on the journey. After not seeing Lan Yunxiao and the others for so long, Bailey Hongzhuang must have missed them very much. If Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to go directly to Sun Moon Palace, she could still go directly with Gu Zhiqin and the others. Bailey Hongzhuang pondered for a moment and said, I think I should make a trip back to Limitless Palace first. Now that the Battle of Zhuelu is over, I have to go back and report to them. This was her first time participating in the competition as the young palace mistress of Limitless Palace. Furthermore, the cultivators of Limitless Palace did not know much about her. She could use this opportunity to go back and stabilize her position. What's more, Master and Mistress had high hopes for her. If she didn't go back, it would be inappropriate. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's reply, Di Beichen nodded his head. Wait for me at Limitless Palace. I'll find you soon. Now that the Battle of Zhuelu was over, they needed to discuss their next steps. All right. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded her head. In the next 3 months, they still needed to prepare many things. Hongzhuang, if there's anything you need me for, just send me a letter. Mo Yunjue slowly said. Just from Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's expressions, he could already guess what they were planning to do. Chapter 2485. Hearing Mo Yunjue's words, Bailey Hongzhuang felt a burst of gratitude in her heart. Her beautiful face also bloomed into a brilliant smile. All right, when we meet at the Lan family, I'll teach you the art of disguise, okay? She had already said earlier that she would teach Mo Yunjue the art of disguise. However, during this period of time, they came and went in a hurry. She didn't have the chance to say anything else. When they went to the Lan family, she believed that the situation at the beginning wouldn't be so urgent. Taking advantage of this opportunity, she could also teach the art of disguise to Mo Yunjue. Mo Yunjue's cold face suddenly revealed a smile. His voice was so gentle that it was surprising. All right. Shengguan Yingying and Wen Ziren sighed in their hearts when they saw Mo Yunjue looking at Bailey Hongzhuang with eyes full of affection. All along, they felt that the Heaven Slaughter Tower was too mysterious. The young master of the Heaven Slaughter Tower was also a decisive person. However, no one had ever thought that the young master of the Heaven Slaughter Tower would be an infatuated person. This kind of understanding made them change their view of Mo Yunjue. In their hearts, they also felt a little sad for Mo Yunjue. If such a man found the right sweetheart, they should also be a pair of immortal companions. Not long after, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others arrived at the teleportation array. After everyone agreed to meet again next time, the Limitless Palace team, as the first-place existence, left first. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the others opened their eyes again, they had already appeared in the teleportation array at the foot of the Limitless Palace mountain. Standing in front of them were the Palace Master, the Palace Master's wife, and many elders. Just as the Palace Master said before they left, they would be waiting for their return here. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the others appeared in the center of the teleportation array, Yu Linfeng and the others revealed a smile on their faces. With a slight glance, they discovered that 2 people were missing from the team. However, these casualties were within their expectations. There were casualties in almost every battle of Zhuolu. As long as the army wasn't completely wiped out, it wasn't too bad. Bailey Hongzhuang had lost 2 out of 10 people, which was a pretty good result. Palace Master, Palace Master's wife. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others immediately bowed to Yu Linfeng and Nangong Wu. Ever since they came back and saw the Palace Master and Madame personally welcoming them, they had an uncontrollable excitement in their hearts. It's good that you're back safely. Let's return to the sect first. Yu Linfeng had a faint smile on his face. He did not know the results of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. But no matter what, everyone was participating for the sake of Limitless Palace. 3 months of training was already tough enough. If he were to ask about the results now, it would hurt everyone's feelings. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others also had smiles on their faces. After leaving Limitless Palace for 3 months, they couldn't help but feel happy when they returned. The feeling of returning home was always excellent. The elders were a little perturbed. They didn't know what the results were this time. This was the thing that they were most concerned about. This was because this result would affect the development of Limitless Palace and their right to speak for the next few years. Limitless Palace's strength had always been strong. It was just that they hadn't been established for a long time, so they still needed a certain amount of time. If they obtained good results in the Battle of Zhuolu, then this situation would change. Chapter 2486. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest appeared at the peak of Limitless Palace, they saw the cultivators of Limitless Palace coming out to greet them. They're back. The Battle of Zhuolu is indeed dangerous. 10 people went and only 8 came back. I wonder how they did? Looking at their expressions, I think their results should be pretty good. The disciples discussed animatedly as they had countless guesses in their hearts. They only hoped that they could achieve a good result. As disciples of Limitless Palace, they were bound together for good or ill. If Limitless Palace could achieve a good result in the Battle of Zhuolu, then as disciples of Limitless Palace, they would also share in the glory. Long Xianjing and the others were in an extremely good mood. At this moment, when they saw the many pairs of expectant eyes, they felt that they had not let down everyone's expectations of them. At the same time, they had also drawn a thick and heavy stroke in their careers. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest did not stay for long. Instead, they followed behind Yu Linfeng and Nangong Wu to the assembly hall. They needed to report the situation of the Battle of Zhuelu to Yu Linfeng and the rest. After that, the other disciples would also know about their results. Nangong Wu and the rest were in a good mood. From Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest's expressions, they could tell that their results would not be bad. If it was really bad, he believed that everyone's faces would be filled with frustration and they wouldn't be in such high spirits right now. In fact, the moment they saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest, their hearts that were originally on tenterhooks relaxed a little. Assembly Hall. Palace Master, Palace Mistress and the various elders took their seats. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest stood in the middle of the assembly hall. Speaking of which, they were not tired at all. The second half of the Battle of Zhuelu was completely different from the previous battles. Hongzhuang, how are your results this time? Yu Linfeng knew that everyone was curious about this question. He immediately went straight to the point and asked. Now that everyone here was from Limitless Palace, there was no need to hide anything. As soon as he said that, all the elders looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. They were obviously very concerned about this result. Bailey Hongzhuang's pretty face was filled with confidence and joy. She bowed to Yu Linfeng and said, "Fortunately, we didn't disappoint you. We won first place." Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the entire meeting hall fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Bailey Hongzhuang. Their eyes were filled with doubt and surprise. They wondered if they had heard wrongly. However, from the expressions of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, they felt that they had not heard wrongly. "You said, first place?" Nangong Wu couldn't help but ask again. This result was something that even they had never imagined. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded and said to everyone again in an affirmative tone, "That's right, we won first place." Suddenly, the entire assembly hall burst into laughter. This news was too unexpected and pleasantly surprising. Even the elders who were usually calm couldn't help but laugh out loud at this moment. Bailey Hongzhuang would never lie to them about this kind of thing. This result was really something to be proud of. Yu Linfeng and Nangong Wu looked at each other and a smile appeared on their faces. First place. Chapter 2487. Immediately, all the elders in the discussion hall looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others with fiery gazes. They were the heroes of Limitless Palace. Nurturing disciples was not an easy task. Furthermore, Limitless Palace had only been established for a short period of time. The cultivators they recruited were only ordinary cultivators. If they wanted to nurture these cultivators to a level where they could compete with the cultivators of other factions, they would need a period of time. Over the years, Limitless Palace had been improving every year. Although they knew that this was due to objective factors, the elders could not help but sigh in their hearts. There were many factions in Shengxian continent. The result was the result. Not many people would care about the process and reason. Therefore, their right to speak could not be compared to the other major factions. Originally, they only hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others would be able to obtain a good result in the battle for throne. At the very least, they would be able to improve. This was also related to Bailey Hongzhuang revealing her identity for the first time. However, none of them dared to imagine that they would be able to obtain first place. The successors and cultivators of the top factions were never weak. To defeat them and obtain first place was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But now, Bailey Hongzhuang had clearly told them that Limitless Palace had obtained first place. How did you obtain first place? Gu Taihong could not help but ask. This matter was simply too exciting. Even with their mentality, they could not wait to know the process at this moment. Looking at the excited faces of the elders, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others smiled even more brightly. They had worked so hard for so long. Firstly, it was for themselves. Secondly, it was to live up to the expectations of Limitless Palace. At this moment, seeing the happy faces of the palace master and the elders, they felt a strong sense of pride. They had finally lived up to everyone's expectations. Before Bailey Hongzhuang could answer Gu Taihong's question, Yu Linfeng's voice rang out again. Then who obtained first place in the individual competition? The moment he said this, Long Xianjing and the others' gazes landed on Bailey Hongzhuang. "It's the young palace master," everyone replied in unison. In such a joyous moment, everyone did not care about their usual etiquette and status. They only wanted to quickly share this good news. This news was no different from a heavy bomb that smashed onto everyone's body. Nangong Wu was startled at first, but then her face was filled with ecstasy. She knew that Hong Zhuang's performance would not be bad. However, this result was simply too shocking. First place. It was Bailey Hongzhuang's first time participating in the Zhuolu battle, and she already won first place. This was truly a good start. There was no need for them to introduce Bailey Hongzhuang as Limitless Palace's young palace lord. Yu Linfeng was also a little surprised. Originally, he was a little worried that with Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, there would be a lot of pressure competing with the heirs of other forces. Because he was very clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation at that time could only be ranked in the lower middle level among the many outstanding heirs. Her strength was probably in the middle. He had always been worried that Bailey Hongzhuang would not be able to take it after meeting Lan Qingyan and being suppressed by Lan Qingyan. He did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would give them such a big surprise and obtain first place. Chapter 2488. Gu Taihong and the other elders also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with burning eyes. Their dignified faces were now filled with shock and astonishment. Everyone had been dissatisfied with the palace master's decision to let the young palace master lead the team to participate in the Battle of Zhuolu without informing them. Bailey Hongzhuang was too young and everyone did not know much about Bailey Hongzhuang. The successor was related to the future development of the sect. How could they make such a decision so casually? Moreover, before the Battle of Zhuolu began, Bailey Hongzhuang had not appeared. When she appeared, she immediately participated in the Battle of Zhuolu. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, other than Gu Taihong who knew a little about her, the other elders only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was the champion of the assessment competition. At the same time, she was also a genius alchemist. If Bailey Hongzhuang was only a cultivator, her results would naturally be very good. However, if she wanted to be the successor, she would need to have a higher standard. However, at this moment, after knowing the results of Bailey Hongzhuang, the complaints in everyone's hearts had dissipated. Champion of the Battle of Zhuo. Who would dare to say that Bailey Hongzhuang did not have the qualifications to become the young palace master? Such results were enough to make the entire Limitless Palace proud. Gu Taihong's face was filled with joy. Recently, many elders had been asking him about the young palace master's situation. The pressure on him was not small. Fortunately, the young palace master had amazed the world with a single brilliant feat now. He did not have to worry about the criticism of others. Results were everything. Just as Gu Taihong had thought, all the elders felt that the palace master's foresight was indeed extraordinary. The successor that was suddenly chosen was actually so powerful. The other forces did not have such good foresight. Next, Bailey Hongzhuang slowly narrated the events that had happened in the Battle of Zhuolu. Thinking about it, everyone was very curious about their experiences during this period of time. Why not tell them now to save everyone's curiosity? So you're saying that you're taking the hardest path? Nangong Wu could not help but raise her voice. Previously, she had discussed this matter with Yu Linfeng and felt that their team would not be so unlucky. Who would have thought that they would really be the unlucky ones? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. Although the tests along the way were very difficult, we also gained a lot. Now that she thought about it, Bailey Hongzhuang was glad that they chose this path. Otherwise, they would not have gained so much, and she would not have been able to improve her strength. The greater the difficulty, the greater the improvement. This was the truth of the cultivation world. Young Palace Master, there is a formation on this path. How did you get there? Gu Taihong frowned slightly. Compared to the other tests, this array formation was the one that left him speechless. For so many years, almost every team had been trapped in this array. I cracked it, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the conference hall looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. She cracked it so easily? This kind of array formation should not be so easy to crack, right? Not only did the young palace master crack the array, but she also set up a new array formation to trap the Heng Shan sect's team. We directly attacked the Heng Shan sect and took their identity cards. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.